Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start our event for the day. And I just want to welcome everyone from around the Compass family and around the country to what will be a very interesting and informative session, I hope, in introducing an extraordinary new building that is coming to the North Bergen area of New Jersey, which is just across the river from the Hudson River. For those who don't know, New Jersey is across the river. It is an extraordinary building that is the first big new development for Compass New Development in the New Jersey territory. So a very exciting moment. It is called Solaia. The website is livesolaia.com, and I am appropriately attired in Umbrian colors to reflect the origins of the word Solaia, which is from the hills of Tuscany, which speaks to all about the light. And Salia is a light-filled, extraordinary site that faces the Hudson River. It is a 70-unit condominium, which is actually small for the type of large buildings that often exist on the river-facing sites. That makes it humanly scaled, a wonderful site where 70 apartments all boast exceptional views. As importantly, while they're beautifully finished, they have a level of design that is truly unprecedented, and a level of amenities that are truly a one-of-a-kind in the New Jersey market. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our wonderful panelists who are going to tell us a lot more about this building. And I will introduce them all, but I have to read this because my little pea brain doesn't remember anything. Dylan Mont first entered the industry working in leasing and property management for luxury high-rise buildings in Jersey City. While there, she developed a keen interest in design and the layout of amenity spaces and helped to design and furnish the outdoor amenities for several large high-rise projects. She continues to take design courses at Parsons, and since joining the Skyline team, Skyline being the developer of this building, her strength for recognizing and designing around the needs of residents has helped to shape many of Salia's key features. Kristin Ehrgott is a founding broker of Compass in New Jersey with over a decade of experience, leads a team of 9 agents, and is known for her proficiency in luxury real estate, including record-breaking sales, celebrity and professional athlete representation, and a creative approach to marketing and sales, setting her apart from other brokers and resulting in repeat clients and referrals as her #1 source of business, and recognized by her achievement of a platinum level circle of excellent awards over the years. Jacqueline Isaac is the principal of Donnie Douglas, an interior design firm. Correct me if I pronounce that incorrectly. Is it Donnie Douglas or Donnie Douglas? An interior design firm known for their signature blend of old and new. Jacqueline started the business in 2017 after a successful career in advertising, running global ad campaigns for clients in the biotech and pharmaceutical space. Her strong project management background and creative eye for design has led Donnie Douglas to be the strategic partner of interiors for some of the most beautiful residences and multifamily buildings up and down the East Coast. And then last but not least is the star of the show, Lou Mont, who has for 40 years in business in the real estate experience, specializing in real estate development and construction. He has been involved in project types ranging from multifamily, high-rise properties, single-family subdivision communities, and industrial buildings. He has managed many large residential rental properties as well as a large industrial portfolio. Lou has been a planning board commissioner and chairman in Washington Township, New Jersey for over 17 years. And as far back as 1989 was named one of the top 50 people impacting New Jersey's economic future by the Business Journal of New Jersey. Several projects that he has been involved in have been awarded the prestigious award for best rental community, over 200 units by the New Jersey Builders Association. We're so honored and flattered that you've all joined us. And to start off, Lou, I have to ask you, finding a site is probably the most important aspect of anything, because you can build a beautiful building, but a great site really makes all the difference. Tell us a little bit more about this site.
Yeah, so we were very lucky to find a piece of property that's located along the Hudson River, but also located against the Palisades Cliffs. And so we're raised just a little bit up off of the river, which gives us a really unique perspective on New York. We designed our building to have a single loaded corridor so that all of the units have an east-facing view. They'll all enjoy the morning sunrise, and we all have a terrific view of New York City. And because we're up a little higher and set a little further back than most of our competitors along the river. Again, we have a sweeping view of New York rather than perhaps the more limited view of a particular part of the skyline that you would get if the building was located directly on the water's edge. So we're really excited about the site that we have.
Well, I think for anyone who has not been to the other side of the river, I've personally find it is much, much more exciting to look at Manhattan from across the river than to look at Manhattan while on the island itself. So these views are truly breathtaking. And I know that's an overused word in real estate land. Dylan, how was the design process for you? Because we often talk about pretty design and aesthetic design, but here the design goes much deeper. It goes well into functionality and the intrinsic value of design that often is overlooked in new buildings.
Absolutely. I would say the design process kind of happened in two phases. One, the first was, during the planning before construction really started in earnest. And that was where we took the time to work through, how the building was going to be laid out overall, and really, for me specifically, how the amenities would be laid out. And there were many iterations of this set of amenities and how they were laid out in the building before we arrived at the final version. And working through really entailed thinking through how is it going to feel to use these amenities to your point of functionality. It's very easy to include a good list of amenities in a building. And what's really unique about Solaia is we have a great list, but we also have thought about how it's going to feel to use them. So we're sitting in the wellness center now, which is a 2-story fitness center. Above us is going to be the locker room, and from that locker room you can walk straight up into the spa level, which is really the crown jewel of the amenity collection here. And so for me, I was very involved in making sure that it was going to be pleasant to use. I mean, we started with a gym and a yoga room separate from that, and the spa was separate from that, and we talked through, what's it going to feel like if I have to go through the building in my bathrobe. So, which is not what anybody wants to be doing, seeing their neighbors in bathrobe and slippers. So part of that design process was figuring out how can we interconnect this so that all of these wellness-focused amenities are cohesive, and I can go straight from the locker room down into the gym to get my workout, back up to change into my bathrobe, and then up into the spa to enjoy the sauna or the steam room without ever having to walk out into the hallway or ride an elevator with someone going out to walk their dog or take out the trash or whatever it is. So I would say that was the big first phase of design, was just making sure that the amenities function the way that we envisioned them, and that going to the spa was as relaxing as we thought it should be. And then obviously the second phase was finished design, and I stepped back into more of just an oversight role. Jacqueline, our amazing interior designer, has selected some incredible finishes throughout the building. And so my role during that process was really just making sure that the selections that her team was making were aligned with our vision, our team's vision of the building, making sure we were staying on budget, making sure that things were being purchased. And I'm sure she can speak more to that, but yeah, the design process has been really exciting here. We've made sure that not only things look beautiful, but that they're really enjoyable to use, and it's going to feel really good to live in this building.
Well, great design is always about functionality as well as aesthetics, and oftentimes that is forgotten. I also think one of the most enjoyable things about amenities is when you aren't sharing them with 350 other apartments. So the fact that you're a 70-unit building, I think, speaks volumes about the usability of this 3 levels of amenities, which is truly unheard of for a 70-unit building, especially in New Jersey. I think this might be a first, am I correct?
We think it is. So in addition to, the typical amenities, we have a rooftop outdoor kitchen with grilling stations, fire pits. We have a resident lounge. We have a co-working space. We have something that you expect to see in many of the larger buildings. When we got to the wellness, what we're deeming the wellness center, it was important for us to really make that a special space. We've seen some buildings that might have a steam room or a sauna, but by interconnecting these spaces and making them cohesive, we think we have come up with something really unique and special. The locker rooms that Dylan mentioned, if you purchase a unit here in Solaia, you'll get a locker, but it's your locker. It'll be identified whether you want your name or your unit number on it. It becomes your space. We've laid out the wellness center to include features that are really unheard of in a building like this. We have a 10-person hot tub with bubbling jets. We have a full steam room, a sauna. We have an experienced shower. We have a cold pipe and a fusion pipe to cool yourself down. And then we also have a salt inhalation room, which will contain 4 infrared beds for, really calming yourself down, meditation. There are lounge chairs to relax in. So, and we thought about, given where we are in the world with COVID, it's important to note that because we only have 70 units in the building, we'll probably have no more than 150 people here. Some of our larger competitors, you could wind up with 500, 700, 800 people in the building. We've also paid attention to what will work in terms of virus and so forth, in that we know that a sauna is kept at a much higher temperature and it kills all the germs and viruses ongoingly. A steam room, however, because it's wet, is typically kept at a lower temperature. What we've done is 2 things. Rather than build your typical tiled, grouted steam room, which if you've been in a steam room, you know that moldy smell, that musty smell that comes over time. We've had custom flat panels made, so there are no joints, there are no grout lines. It's easy to wash down and clean. And we've installed an ozone system into that. So that'll go on about twice a day and literally kill all the germs in that space. So we've really paid attention to the health, not only the relaxation side of it, but the health side of it as well. The same is true in our apartments. We've done closet systems that are infused with silver, which is an antimicrobial. Our soaking bathtubs are made of Creon, which is a natural antimicrobial. So throughout the building, our goal is really not just to sell you a condominium or a home, but to sell you really a lifestyle. These amenities are available to you 24 hours a day. If you're lucky enough to live directly across the hall from some of them, you can sneak in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. No one will even know you're there. So we're really excited about the amenities that we're offering here. They are unparalleled, really, even in the largest buildings. I failed to mention earlier also the site location. I just wanted to mention we're literally across the street from all kinds of shopping, and within a quarter to half mile of here, you can find virtually every big box store that you can think of. Restaurants abound. We're within striking distance to the ferry, the light rail system. We're roughly equidistant between the George Washington Bridge and the Lincoln Tunnel. So transportation to and from the city is easy. It's just a really special place to be.
And I think I measured it's about 20 minutes from your front door to Midtown Manhattan, which I think is rather astounding, and a lot of people don't realize that. Question for you, Jacqueline. Tell us about your involvement in Solaia, because obviously here you do not have a developer who says, design a building for me. Here you have a developer and his daughter who truly understand and care about design and really understand what might be valuable to the consumer. How would you say you brought in your value to the equation?
Sure. I think Dylan mentions she just kind of became the overseer of the finishing process, but I think credit is due to this team who we've just had an absolute blast designing Solaia, simply because they care so much about everything that went into the building. So I have a picture of Lou sitting in the bathtubs, trying them out to make sure that they're comfortable. We ordered full-size samples of things to make sure the weight of the finishes felt exactly how this building was going to feel, which was was high-end and truly luxurious. I think sometimes we hear the name luxury and we get served a very different type of luxury when the finishes aren't really paid attention to, but that's really not the case here. And I hope at some point, whoever's on the line, we could talk about finishes all day, but it's very different standing in this building and, seeing the cabinetry from Italy in the bleached Korean walnut. I see Amir on the line, hey Amir, who supplied the kitchens and vanities for us, which are gorgeous. We've got these beautiful bright onyx countertops, also from Italy. And just everything in this building has just been really thoughtfully curated. It's a very boutique type of experience that you get when walking through the doors. And what was fun coming here was, we take a very collaborative approach to design. So we love clients who really get involved and have a say. But I think this team was also really respectful of our energy and our vision for it as well. I think what's helpful and what's really nice about Solaia is that the team came to the table with a vision that was very clear. It was clear to us what type of amenities were going to be here. It was clear what type of feel we wanted the building to have. It was very clear what the meaning behind the building's name was going to be. So I think that's super helpful when it comes to the direction of the design. So we were just constantly working off of a North Star, Solaia's meaning, how we wanted the building to feel, and the finishes just kind of, finish telling that interior story.
Well, Lou and Dylan are extraordinarily impressed and proud of the work you have done, and repeatedly in our pre-discussions said, please don't give us the credit because Jacqueline really here is the design star, so bravo to you. I do think the timing of this building is kind of pitch perfect, because we've entered this world where our awareness of health and well-being and quality of life and living in a beautiful home all seem to come together under one roof at Solaia. So Kristin, as one of the top New Jersey agents, could you tell us what you're seeing in the market? Are you seeing an influx of buyers from New York? Where are your buyers coming from? Because we see all sorts of things happening in Manhattan, but New Jersey has seen a very exciting resurgence of a market that I think had seemed to be a bit on decline in 2017, 18, 19. So 2020 was a great year for sure, but what are you seeing in 2021?
Yeah, so the expectations of buyers coming into New Jersey has just gone up and up and up. I mean, especially people coming from New York, they have a certain expectation as to what luxury means to them. And what kind of finishes and what kind of features they expect in their home. And I think this is really the first building to me that meets that expectation for New York buyers. I think a lot of people think that they have to take a step down in quality by coming to New Jersey compared to New York. Their expectation of New Jersey is not that of a true luxury building. And they are, so far, the people who have come through in our very beginning stages of marketing have been very, very impressed. It sounds silly to say, but in New Jersey, for example, most developers do not build out their closets and they do not offer custom closets. They leave it up to the buyer to do their own. And as a buyer in a luxury market, your expectation is not that you're going to have to walk in your home and start doing work. And start hiring contractors to come in and do work. You should be able to walk in and start living. And I think that that's, everything here from the quality of the finishes to the thoughtfulness that's been put into each amenity and each feature of the home. Having a smart home system already built in. Again, you don't have to go and hire someone to come in and hook up your smart home system. It's delivered with the home. You can control your lighting, your appliances, everything, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled. And that is what sets us apart from the other homes here on the waterfront.
Well, annoyingly, I always say time is the last luxury. And while we might have tons of luxurious features in the building, I do think the time savings is probably the hidden luxury that people might even appreciate more than anything. So Lou, you have a family business. Tell us how your daughter Dylan got involved in this business, because I just love a family business. It really shows dedication and caring about the end product.
Yeah, sure. So, I've been doing this for about 40 years. So Dylan really grew up not necessarily involved, but hearing about the developments that I've been involved with. She went away to George Washington University, and when she graduated, she expressed some interest in being in the real estate business. And at the time, we were building the cast iron lofts down in Jersey City, and she came aboard as an assistant property manager to sort of dip her toe in the water. And she was under the tutelage of Cheryl Byrne, who at the time was our sales and leasing manager and continues to fill that role for us today. We went on to a second building there, Soho Lofts, which was a large 377 unit building. And Dylan took the position in that building of leasing coordinator. So as the leases, as the people were coming aboard, she was signing the leases, arranging the move-ins, arranging the transfer of utilities. She was their liaison in person to rely on to get them safely moved into the building, get their pets registered, et cetera, et cetera. And during all of that time, she also showed interest in how we were laying out the amenities. And in those buildings, we had 25,000 square foot outdoor pool decks. She was involved in working with the architects and myself and others in designing and laying out outdoor movie theaters, fire pit areas. We paid a great deal of attention, and she did as well, looking at the demographics of the people that moved in, looking at what their needs were going to be on the amenity side, but also how to use the amenities. So we noticed that if we had a square fire pit with a sofa on one side and two chairs on the other, if two people sat down either in the chairs or the sofa, nobody else would sit there because it was a space that seemed private. And so in the Soho Lofts building, the next building, we did two 10-foot custom-made linear fire pits with couches lined on both sides. And it became the place that everybody wanted to be in the evening. We would see people sitting on the arms of the chair. They had to have a seat there with a glass of wine, enjoying the neighbors, getting to know people. So she's been really instrumental in helping us. And then those buildings won awards for both of them, New Jersey Builder Association Best Community over 200 units. It won awards, those buildings, for Best Leasing Office, Best Leasing Team, Best Leasing Strategy. So, she played a very significant role in the development of those buildings and the success of those buildings. So when we got here to North Bergen and we started to do Solaia, she was, a natural. She has a superpower for this. So she was natural to work with Jacqueline and with the architects, and we designed and redesigned the spaces to come up with what we now have, which is just stellar. I'm really super proud to have her aboard, and she'll take on more and more as we go forward. But she's been terrific and a I couldn't be more pleased to have my daughter working with me in the business.
And she does have a good gene pool, I would say. It helps.
By the way, I just wanted to piggyback on Jacqueline's comment. I was clothed when I got in the bathroom.
I hope so. So question, Jacqueline, what was the process for making design decisions and selecting materials? Because what I'm most impressed by is there's so many buildings that have very fashionable of the moment interiors that look like they're going to be dated in an hour, if not a week. And your design palette seems to be cutting a nice balance between classic, contemporary, that will look like it really ages well. It also doesn't look like the kind of finishes that compete with these extraordinary views.
Yeah, I have a term I like to use called developer marble, which is the term I use when I see kind of white box interiors with just your standard, standard marble finishes in porcelain that you could kind of get anywhere. When I was working with this team, I really said, I really hope that we don't go that direction. And one of the things that we do before we even get into design is a concept presentation where we bring trays of physical materials to the table to get a sense of what the clients are really into and thinking of. And we had a tray that was a little bit more standard, your standard white and gray finishes with some black metals. And then we had a tray that was a little bit more colorful, much warmer in terms of the tones and more my personal style. And the team just gravitated towards that tray immediately, which was really fun. I think what sets this building apart are the finishes. I mean, there's a ton of warm mixed metals in the kitchen, which you never see. There's the onyx on the countertop is, not a bright white, it's very creamy, but it's done in a way where anyone can come here and bring in any type of color palette in terms of furnishings, whether they are white and black or whether they're more colorful, and it's gonna work with your style. So I think that's what we wanted to offer, was to be able to have somebody come in here, feel the warmth of the space, feel that they could just come in and kind of bring their toothbrush and maybe a couple of pieces of furniture, and anything was going to work in the space because it is a timeless aesthetic. So that was really important to us.
Well, I think you certainly achieved that. Now, Kristin, you have 1 through 3 bedroom units ranging in price from, I believe, $699,000 all the way up to $1.9 million. Tell us a little bit about the demographic of who is coming to shop here, because we have seen similar projects attracting both first-time home buyers, those who are looking to up in size a little bit as well. And we're finding a pretty large audience of baby boomers who want to be in lock-up and leave style settings. What do you see in the way of your demographic profile, not just where they're coming from, but who they are?
Yeah, so I think the majority of the people that are interested in this building are going to be interested because of the great location in North Bergen. Most people don't know North Bergen. It is a hidden gem. It is right across the street from Edgewater. We're right on the waterfront. We're just north of Weehawken and the Port Imperial Ferry that connects to Midtown and downtown. So I think a lot of people are coming here and discovering North Bergen and our location and how unique it is. And the people that are doing that are looking for something different. They are, more than likely not a first-time buyer. They actually have, either purchased in the area before, maybe they're looking for more space, they're looking for a better view, and just another, their next step in terms of what they would expect from home. I think, going through the pandemic over the past year, a lot of us had to reevaluate what home needs, right? We're home more than ever. We're not able to travel as much as we used to. And I think this building really offers what you would expect if you were traveling, if you were staying at a 5-star resort. It has the full spa, it has the beautiful gym with every piece of equipment that you can imagine. And, having that private locker room and that level of luxury luxury. You're not going to see this in your home anywhere else in New Jersey or even New York for that matter. I mean, we rival the 5-star resorts around the world that we all used to vacation to, and now it's, you know, bringing it back into, okay, how can I experience this level of luxury and actually, you know, experience it at home? I think one of the more unique features that actually was not mentioned is the co-working lounge. The co-working lounge was specifically designed because now more than ever, everybody's working from home. And the co-working lounge is going to have Wi-Fi, printers, scanners, a conference room. I had someone come and tour the building the other day and do this hard hat tour as we're still under construction, and I brought them up to the co-working lounge and they said, I can't tell you how perfect this is because we're both working from home and, you know, we just can't coexist working from home in the same space. It's not going to work. So, you know, they were specifically looking at a 2-bedroom so that one of the second bedroom could be a home office and the other person would use the co-working lounge. And, you know, that was a perfect setup for them. And I think that that's what we're going to continue to see from the buyers in this area that are looking for a building like this.
Well, my cat has officially evicted me from my home, and it's very simple. I completely relate. Question for you, Dylan. Having been in this unique position to watch all the design process and then also be an active participant in guiding it and giving opinions, one thing you embrace is a compass principle, which is learn from reality and truly observing what the consumer's needs and wants are rather than dictating to them something that maybe they don't want or don't need, I think is so important. But is there one feature throughout this building that you say, that's a really great feature? Because what I'm learning is, yes, you have a lot of wonderful features, but more importantly, you have a long checklist. And I think these days the buyer is so discerning and wanting everything that you've really seem to have done the right level of inventory research. But is there one thing maybe that stands out, or is it just that you've done everything?
Oh God, I think you gave me the hardest question of the day. I guess my favorite design element of the building would have to be where we're sitting. I think that, you know, as we mentioned, we have this single loaded corridor, so all of our homes face east towards the city. But what that also means is that we were able to consolidate this amenity block into this one place where you can come to visit and get everything that you need. So I think that consolidation and being able to just visit this place where I can get my workout in, or I can get some relaxation in, or I can go one level up and host some friends in this beautiful chef's kitchen and lounge area, or, you know, my spouse or partner can go to the co-working space to get out of the house, or we can go one level up from that and enjoy an outdoor area where we can cook and grill and have friends at a fire pit. It's really just this one cohesive chunk of the building where you can get out of your home and into these more public spaces. And I think just the thought that went into how they were laid out, and then, you know, the chef's kiss of how beautifully they're designed is probably my favorite. But there's a million things I love about this building. I mean, down to the keyless entry system that we're using for apartment access, which we partnered with Latch on this building. It's brilliant. You get into your apartment with your phone, you get into amenities with your phone. But there really is just so much to love here.
Well, Mae West always said it beautifully. She said, too much of a good thing is wonderful. So why not lots of good? Another thing that I do want to point out again, which I think is so important, especially today, where I think everyone kind of needs a hug at the end of the day, and most people can't get one because they're going to get some kind of germ. I think there is something truly wonderful about being a 70-unit building as opposed to a 400-unit building, and having, you know, instead of it being a 40-story building, being a 14-story building. Everything feels a lot more human here. And I think timing-wise, you read in your cards, read well into the future, because all these projects never happen overnight. And I bet this project started well before COVID hit our world. And now as we exit COVID, it seems like you are, the geniuses of your time in having anticipated pretty much everything that the consumer is seeking today. So Kristin, are you looking at this building going, wow, did we get lucky or were we genius? I mean, I'll give you genius, but do you think there was a little bit of luck as well?
I think so, definitely. I am already so excited as we've just started, hard hat tours. We're still under construction. Our model that we're sitting in today, is just about finished. And we're ready to start walking people through and inviting them into the building and truly, getting to see firsthand, what has been built here, and it's very, very exciting. I just have not seen anything else like this, this building in this area. And I think every person that comes and sees it is going to be blown away.
I also think what's amazing to me about any space are the fundamentals. And there are certain things that no design can really create other than what you've done design-wise, which is embrace. So the fact that you're embracing the views, I think, is a really important aspect of this building. And you cannot build a view like the Hudson River and the Manhattan skyline. That is what it is. So the siting of the building is in itself phenomenal. I also believe that morning light is the best way to get the day started. So you have this abundance of morning light. But let's talk a little bit about the exposures at nighttime, because I bet at nighttime, this is magnificent. A lot of people in Manhattan complain that when they look at New Jersey, there were a few lights. Now with the, the water side of New Jersey having exploded, you definitely see a lot more night lights. But from your vantage point, staring back at Manhattan at nighttime must just be breathtaking.
Well, the sunset too. The sunset is gorgeous from here. The whole Manhattan skyline really lights up, at that magic hour, and all the reflection off of the water and off of the buildings, and then going down into the evening and the beautiful city lights right out your window. Yeah, it's truly a beautiful, beautiful site, and a site that most people don't know that you can get from this area. They think, again, they have to compromise by coming across the river, but this is not a compromise. This is true luxury. This is beauty, and it's a special building.
And it speaks to nature as well, because going back to the original concept, which is Solaia, that sunlight, you've brought the Tuscan sun to New Jersey, which is truly divine. It saves a lot of jet lag. So Lou, is there anything else that I feel that I might have forgotten that you would like to add in this equation? Because I feel like we've learned so much already.
Well, I guess I would just point out some of the other features that maybe we missed along the way. So all of our units, as Dylan mentioned, you have a Bluetooth entry into the apartment. We set up the lighting system, the thermostats, and the appliances are all Wi-Fi enabled. The refrigerator even has a coffee maker in it, so you can put a K-cup in it at night and make your coffee from bed in the morning. You can start the roast in the oven from the office before you leave. We have fireplace. Did I say fireplace? So we have a fireplace in every apartment. 60 of our 70 units have outdoor balcony space. Our larger 3-bedroom unit has 52 linear feet wraparound. You saw that in the rendering. You just saw a wraparound balcony. So the outdoor space is terrific. Of course, you can sit outside. We have all of the lights throughout the building are LED. So not only will you have a very low electric bill, but you will never, probably in your lifetime, you won't change the light bulb, which is great, no maintenance. What am I forgetting? Anything? There's some feature.
The garage, every home sold here comes with its own parking spot, and we have additional spots available. But one of the great things is there's no interconnected levels of the garage. So if you have a spot on the 3rd floor, you don't enter on the 1st floor and drive in a loop for a while. You pull right up and in to your parking spot and into your home, which is a nice feature for sure. We have a total of 70 homes, as we've said before. We have 10 unique 1-bedroom units. We have 10 extraordinary 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom units that not only have that sweeping view from the George Washington Bridge all the way down the river, but also look south to that iconic skyline. Then we have 10 2-bedroom plus a den. So that den can be used as a den, an office, or ultimately an extra bedroom. And then 40 other 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom units of various configurations. So, you know, if you had a child, you could get 2 bedrooms side by side, or 2 bedrooms separated by the living dining area. So we think we've covered all the bases, made, you know, living in the space really easy to do. So we look forward to, you know, people coming and enjoying the visit, and hopefully we'll find 70 people that really appreciate what we're offering here.
Well, in my world, I usually want to find 350 people so they're all bidding against one another. So, but so one thing I would say is I personally have had a unique and wonderful experience of having lived on the Hudson River for many years. I used to have a weekend home up in Saugerties, north of Kingston, way further up. And then I had lived in West Chelsea, actually, facing the river. And for whomever has never lived facing water, there is nothing more calming, relaxing, and entertaining, because the boat traffic that goes up and down the river is truly a sight to behold. So as much as you'll be extremely relaxed, you'll also be entertained with your views, because they're pretty, but they're also very active. There's a nice amount of activity that you're looking at. So certainly not a dull exposure. Kristin, how, if I was a New York City or Connecticut broker, or I was in San Francisco or wherever I might be, how would I connect a buyer to you to go to the next step?
Sure. So you can reach out through livesolaia.com, our website, or you can reach out to me directly, and we can set up an appointment for your buyer. All you do is, you know, send your buyer's name. I'll do the rest. You know, we are here doing tours, showing property, and, you know, I'm here to answer any questions they have and send out floor plans. You know, it's a very, very exciting time right now because we are just launching sales. So if someone wants to, you know, come in and have their pick on which, you know, which exact unit they want, which floor, which view, now's the time. Because I can tell you, once people start walking through and seeing our model, the best units are going to go first.
Yes, I do think the greatest luxury of all is choice. So stepping in early, as much as you want to kind of follow the herd, I've always bought, in 3 projects now that I've bought an apartment, I've always bought first, because I think choice is truly the greatest luxury of all. At this point, I'd like to open it up. If anyone has any questions, to install that into the chat, that would be great at this time, because if there are any questions, this is a good time to have them answered by the experts who know more about this building than anyone. I do know the question about parking has already been answered, but obviously that's a big and important item. I do, however, think that one element of the building that we should remind everyone of is the fact that this is truly tapping into a trend that is global right now, which means the 15-minute city, where everything you want is within 15 minutes of your front door. And I think this building truly encapsulates that in an exquisite way, because not only is it 15 minutes from your front door to get everything you want in the New Jersey side, but not much more to get to the Manhattan side too. And there's nothing greater than being a beneficiary of multiple neighborhoods. So I think along the Hudson River, there are these really charming, beautiful towns with a plethora of restaurants and amenities that you are a beneficiary of when you live here. So I'm looking for any questions at this point, or if anyone wants to add anything at this juncture. I know financing in the building as well. You have multiple options, Kristin, to aid with financing, correct?
We do. The building is pre-approved through Caliber Home Loans. The great thing about being pre-approved through the preferred lender is that the building's already been approved. So that means that there's no pre-sale requirements. You can be the first, second, 10th person to close in the building without any trouble. Some of the bigger banks do have restrictions with how many units need to be closed before they can close a loan. Our preferred lender has no restrictions when it comes to that because they've already underwritten the building. And so we do have really great rates and really great loan packages through our preferred lender. When you're coming to see the building, we can give you the details on all of that.
And when do you expect delivery?
So we are starting to deliver our first set of homes within the next 60 to 90 days. So very, very quickly. Our amenity spaces are, as you can see, Lou and Dylan are sitting in the gym. So our amenity spaces are going to be completed within the next 2 months, fully completed. So we can start to have people move in, within the next 2 months, which is really, really exciting.
And tell me just one other amenity I wanted to ask about. What kind of amenities do you have for children?
Yeah, so we do have one room right now that is yet to be programmed. It is on the same amenity level as the lounge and the co-working space. And if there is demand for a children's playroom in the building, we plan to make that room a children's playroom. If there is not demand, and that's not something that's being requested of the residents, then we'll find another use for that space. I can tell you most people who have come through have said, you know what, I think you're gonna have to expand the co-working lounge and make a larger co-working lounge for everybody who's been now working from home. If that's what everybody's looking for, that's what we'll do. I think that's something unique too. I haven't seen any other developer do is, really think about what the amenities are that are going to speak to the residents and what they're going to need. There's so many amenity spaces up and down the Hudson River in these luxury buildings that never get used. You find them empty all of the time. For example, home theaters don't get used anymore in these big buildings. Everybody has Netflix on their TV. That's what they're using. And so now, we have a beautiful flat screen TV in the resident lounge. If you wanted to watch something as a group, you could go to the resident lounge and enjoy it. So there's no need for a home theater. Let's use that space now and think about what demand is out there for that type of amenity, and let's program it for the people who are coming in.
Wonderful. And one last question about homeowners association fees and tax abatements. Is there anything there you want to share with us?
Yeah, so our homeowners association is about 65 cents per square foot. That's comparative to a lot of the other new construction and actually lower than some other new construction in the area. And it's extraordinary that we were able to achieve that 65 cents a square foot, given that it is a smaller building with very high-end amenities. So, we did a really great job at budgeting for this and making it affordable for the residents. And, we thought about it in our pricing as well, pricing our homes in a way to compensate that, we don't have a tax abatement, some other buildings do. So, we know that there is going to be, the standard tax rate for the area. So, our HOA is a bit lower than some of the other buildings. And we're also offering right now as an incentive 1 year of free HOA fees if you sign a contract at this point. So, not only do you benefit coming early, getting the home that you want and getting the selection of the home you want, but you can also get that incentive of the 1 year free HOA.
Well, I think everyone has always said life in Tuscany is too good to be true, but frankly, I don't like the jet lag. So being under the Tuscan sun in Bergen County, in northern Bergen, across the river from Manhattan sounds dreamy to me. I cannot thank you all enough. I encourage everyone watching this to go on to livesolaia.com to look at the level of detail and thought that has gone into this building, because it's truly a pleasure to see a group of developers and designers work this hard to deliver something this beautifully executed. So Dylan, Kristin, Jacqueline, Lou especially, thank you so very much for joining us this morning and sharing with us so much insight on your truly remarkable building. I hope we can sell it out ASAP, and that everyone who chooses to live here will live here for many years and enjoy the fruits of your labors. Truly, you have done a remarkable job. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Len.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to be our moderator today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day and enjoy the Tuscan sun out there. It's beautiful today.
Have a